Alright, this is Carburetors and More. We're getting ready to crank this up and demonstrate the ever-popular 1405 Edelbrock with a manual choke right here. See, in other words, manual choke means you have a cable someplace that you pull on, or if you're in warm climate, 90% of the time you don't need a choke. Or if it's on a race car, you can just go out there and flip it. However, you can buy this additional bracket and put on there, and this is your base gasket. These items are available if you purchase this for an additional 20 bucks, which you can send it payment to our PayPal account after you purchase it. We do not sell these separate. Here we're going to be testing fuel ratio, tachometer. We're going to be checking vacuum right here. We're going to check engine output. On this one here, you got a place in the front you can put your PVC valve. You got one over here for distributor. You got a constant vacuum. You can run windshield wipers, heater control. Then you got one in the back here. You can use this for your brakes. Now what we're looking for on this thing here, we're going to be checking, we want the mixture set. Now we've already did it by adjusting these two screws to get the mixture, to get our most RPM, which is 800. I mean, if we get to 800, then you jack these things up and down to get them so it's level, then back it down. In other words, you start the thing up, you're going to do it, and you adjust these here to get your most RPM, then you back it down to your desired. We want to run at about 800 because it's easy to see. We want our mixture right here about 12 parts of air to 1 part of gasoline. This is relative to the atmospheric pressure on the earth. So at sea level, then as this vehicle or boat, whatever you got the carburetor on, it works with all carburetors. As you accelerate, the mixture thins out because you need less liquid gas to propel it. You don't need quite a hot mixture to keep the vehicle going because inertia has been overtaken. You know, a body at rest tends to stay at rest, but a body in motion tends to stay in motion. So you can keep going. Properly tuned, properly built carburetor will keep getting thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner the faster you go. But it can't be so thin that it starts leaning the engine out and during internal damage, the heating up, burning valves, burning rings, or overheating the radiator. Also, a test we're going to do is on the fuel pressure. With the oxygenated fuels, it takes a tendency to let the needles in there not seat properly and flood if you have too much pressure from your fuel pump. We're going to test it. We're going to start it out at 3 pounds, which is what we recommend. And then we're going to jack it up to about 9 or 10, which is as much as any manual fuel pump will put out. Manual fuel pumps are the worst to make a carburetor flood. They would think it would be the opposite, but no, they're the worst. But you're better off if you want, put in a regulator of some kind. We use a Holley 12-804. That keeps the fuel pressure constant, gives you your best performance and your best mileage. Okay, we're going to certainly going to start getting noisy as we start this up. That's why I'm talking ahead of time. But we're going to turn on the pumps. We're going to turn on the fans. We're going to turn on the ignition contact. Okay, you see how that starts right up? Now you're running right now about 26 inches of vacuum. That's enough vacuum to suck the hat off the top of your head. That vacuum right there is suck pros out through the middle there. Our mixture here is exactly at 12, or we've already set it. And I can show you what happens when you start messing around with it. Now you see I'm making it richer. See I'm making it more straight back up there. I'm turning this one screw right here. And see there? Now I'm going to accelerate and show you what happens. I only increased it to 1200 and we're already at 13 parts. We'll rev it up one time and then we're going to come down and do our fuel pump check and we'll be done. As you see, they're putting out plenty of horsepower. Now as soon as that normalizes after that extra fuel I shot in there, we're going to turn on that pump under high pressure and we're going to see if that, what we don't want, we don't want that needle to drop. We want that needle to stay right there between 11.5 and 12. If that needle drops, that means it's starting to flood because of too much pressure. Jack it up. see the little computer is computing it. Okay, that's a good one. So let me tell you a little something. These Edelbrocks are probably, now we sell all brands. We don't want to get sued for trying to push any brand on you. But these Edelbrocks and the Hollies are the most forgiving. They can stand the most pressure without flooding. Rochesters, of course, they don't make Rochesters anymore. The Rochesters are the worst. They got a small fuel chamber, and you increase that pressure, boom, that mixture will increase, flood the engine, and die out. And we get more people complain if they don't put that regulator in. If they put the regulator, the Rochester works fine. But, you know, they have not made the Rochester until the late 80s. These are still making, Holly's still making. Now, there you go. There's the ever popular Edelbrock. You can see we've tore this thing all apart, put it in ultrasonic, took it down to the bare metal, then we recoated it. That's not chrome. That's a special stuff. We put them in an oven and bake it on there. You can hardly get that off with a chisel. It's resistant to gasoline and salt air and everything. It really makes a nice unit. And we coat the whole carburetor with that stuff. It makes a very nice unit and a very nice performing unit. And the price is right. And if you have a core like this, it's worth $50 to us. Thank you.